So this is a look that I wanted to do from the Janet collection. They sent me a lot of their oils, which I thought was really cool, as well as their waterproof glue, as well as the remover. And this was the Isha glue. They also sent me the wig head, which is 22 inches. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to use it because it's too small. I wear a 23.5, as well as 4 bundles of 26 inches of their atomic blonde. Now, I'd seen a girl on, I think I want to say Pinterest, maybe, and I thought her look was really dope. And then if you look on the back of this, it does kind of give you instructions on how to do watercolor with this particular hair. So I said, well, let's do that. But I did want to show the actual wig head and what comes with it when you buy this bundle together. So it is a wig making kit. So it comes with all the necessary things you need in the kit. So we're going to use this Arctic Fox and Neon Moon, and we're going to use this T18 for the gray side. So we're going to do yellow and gray. We're going to do it down the middle, and we're going to do it with watercolors. And then obviously the T18 is going to be done with I believe I use a 20% developer for this. The girl, whoever this girl is, this model, she's super pretty. I have no clue who she is, but she's bomb. And then on the back, it has more information about how you could take this color and use it for watercolor. It is 100% natural virgin hair. It's just been processed to be a 613 color. So they tell you that, this is how you do watercolor. So we're just going to put some hot water in here. We're going to use this now. I wouldn't have used this particular Arctic Fox for this color because the color itself is so thick, it does not like to spread. So you had to wait for all this to kind of disintegrate. So I had to really go back by hand and kind of go in a little bit after this just because the color isn't like an Adore color where it's more of a liquid base. This definitely has more of a it's like a paste, if you will. So, and I don't know any Adore colors that are yellow that are this bright. So after this was done, it was yellow, but I went back with another bottle and did probably, I want to say a half a bottle just to go in to make sure to intensify the amount of color that I had for this yellow. Because again, hers was so neatly done. I was like, it has to be as close as possible to this. You can achieve gray hair in so many different ways. You could use a cellophane. You could use different agents, if you will. I personally like to do the T18 because, again, depending on how long you leave it on, and it will definitely give you a very true gray color. I know for me, some of my points were a little bit on the purple, violet side, because I did 2 bundles of yellow and 2 bundles of gray, and I did it very differently on the second bundle than I did it here. So when I did it differently on the second one, that second bundle was way more gray than it was violet. So I ended up going back, taking the color out. And I like when things kind of happen for example reasons, not necessarily for time reasons. Sometimes when you don't get it the best the first time, you end up in a place and you end up in a space where you can learn fixing and what to do right and what doesn't work and what does work. And in this case, I understood it was a little bit easier for me to do the entire bundle, but I did not record that particular one because I'm like, there's no point in recording this twice. But I did half of the bundle, rinsed it, and then the other half. And that way I was able to actually monitor the amount of time that was being left on it. It does say for this particular color, leave for 45 minutes, but I've noticed that certain hair, it will turn purple. And trying to get that, it'd be no problem if I was doing a gray and it had an undertone of a violet. But the fact that my hair was literally split in half, if both of my bundles did not match, it was going to be very, very noticeable. So here, I'm just pretty much using a plastic bag that I didn't open, and I'm using it to kind of protect my counters. I mean, it wouldn't do too much, but it's just safety precautions, okay? Sometimes they tell you in your apartments it's like marble and it's not, or and they be lying. So just to avoid not getting my deposit back, we decided to use the bag. So I just got it all in there, and then this is what it looked like afterwards. Of course, it's wet, so it looks a little bit darker. So here I'm just simply taking a regular permanent marker and I'm drawing a line down the middle. Now I put the frontal on a little bit crooked. So, and I did the frontal the exact same way. So it looks like it's not even, but it actually is, it is even. But I did the frontal the same way that I did the bundles, which is I did one side one color and the other side the other color. This particular look, I decided to go ahead and use the hot glue gun method because I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out. This is my first time doing this with two colors like this on with bangs. So the thing about using a frontal is that if you don't like the way that it comes out, you can just remove the frontal, and then I could literally take this frontal off and then replace it with a new one, do the same colors, and then do it where you can see my edges and all of that good stuff. That was the original thought about it. But once I actually kind of kept looking at the reference picture, I was like, I really would prefer it more with bangs. They did not send me a frontal with this. They only sent me bundles. I had a whole bunch of frontals laying around in 613. So I ended up just grabbing one that I had already had. Here, I'm just simply going line for line. You guys, we've done this so many times, dear. So to line everything up, when you line them up at an angle, all the hair that's in the back, like the actual part, will then start to fall together. So it looks like this once you're done. It looks very seamless and you can't tell. So here I just went through with the pressing comb and I went through with my Remington flat irons. I think they're in the 2-inch if I'm not mistaken. And I like the Tresemme. It's like super hold one because even their super hold is not gunky, so it still holds the hair, but it still has a lot of flow to it. So the Tresemme is great for this. I only use like the Got2b spray when the hair is like curly and I really needed to just not be in that original state. So here we're just going to go through, we're going to straighten everything out. And then once we do that, we're going to go back and cut some layers in it. And of course, cut the bangs in it. The frontal, I believe, was like 14 inches. And the reason why I used a shorter frontal was because I was going to cut bangs into it anyway. So it was no point in me getting a 26-inch frontal and then having to cut the bangs all the way up. I don't really have issues on the side due to the simple fact that I do like to put a lot of layers in my bang wigs simply because I just think it looks more finished and more polished. I don't mind like the straight down sides, but not for an everyday movement look. I like that for photos, but like to actually wear out, I would prefer it to be definitely layered up for sure. Very 90s layers. So here I'm just going through, and if you can notice a little bit of this is my frontal I'm starting with right now, and now we're going into the bundles. My hair was a little on the drier side after I had did it. But then I, set it in conditioner and then it came right back to life. It wasn't as bad, but I knew for a fact that because these are two very big difference in color, if one was super dry and one was super polished, because one is, I've used developer on one and I've only used cellophane on the other, I still wanted to seem like it was all done in one sitting and it was using the same products, when in actuality they're two separate products. One has been treated and the other one hasn't been treated. And when you do use hair that's already been colored, to put more color on it definitely makes a difference. So I wanted to keep that down as much as possible. My ends were a little bit on the brassier side, but I knew that they were going to come off because I was going to cut a whole bunch of layers into it. So I didn't really mind. Normally you would do your ends last because they're the most porous and you don't want them to over process. But because I knew I was going to cut them, I was like, I don't care. And if you see in the end, you'll definitely tell there's a big difference. So yeah, going through this wasn't hard at all. I use the same technique. I've been using this flat iron for years. You guys know when I love something, I definitely stick to it. Don't know the young lady in the photo, but if you guys know who she is or you know her Instagram, please link it below. I would love to credit her just because the look is just really dope to me. And I wanted something different. I've only done the double color like the half and half once, and that was my very popular Cruella de Vil. And this was like back in 2016, I want to say, somewhere in there. So I haven't done this very often, and as you guys know, we're like super saturated with hair right now, so it's not too much if you haven't seen. So I want something that was very clean, very nice, but yet very different. I personally haven't seen, besides the young lady in the photos, seen anything very similar to this within this particular sector. But look how beautiful this hair is. It took color beautifully. My camera is trying to focus, so the color looks very different. But within my intro for the actual review for this, you'll be able to see how it looks in regular lights. And it looks gorgeous, darling. I have to say so myself. I was very proud of myself. So yeah. So I have 4 bundles of their Atomic Blonde in 26 inches. And I went ahead and used a 13 by 4, 14... It's like a 14 or 16 inch frontal that I use for this particular look. Now, I like to start my bangs because I like them to come from the very middle. I don't like the very sparse ones. I like them thick and full. So I like to do just the middle. And the middle, I usually, after this, I like to put it on my face and then figure out how much wider I need them to be. But I already knew, and these are actually cut longer too, because if you cut them, girl, you can't get them back. All this work, you're going to be really pissed that you got to go back and fix it. And to be honest, once you mess up bangs, it ain't really no fixing them unless you want to look like Courtney Cox in Scream 3. If that's the look you're going for, then knock yourself out. So here I'm just going through and we're adding more of a bump before I actually start to cut the layers. So here we're just cutting the layers into the side. As you can see, the frontal is a bit of my guideline just because I wanted to have a lot more body to it. Sometimes when I see people have bangs, the bangs be extremely full and the hair is full, but then you get to the sides and it starts to look like a wig. It starts to feel big, and it's kind of hard not to have it big when you use a lot of hair. I mean, I use 4 bundles and a frontal. This is a lot of hair for the average person, but because most of the front of this is going to be cut off, you wanted to, make it a little bit on the thicker side. I have a video from years ago, it literally still applies, about cutting very light, small layers in the front, just to give it more of a body to it, because sometimes your hair can look really flat in bangs, and then it really looks like a wet dog and a wig. So here I'm just kind of chopping a lot of those. But I probably cut this hair to about a 24 at this particular point because I went in and did a lot of point cutting for the layers as well as the bottom. So here, as you can see, I decided to just go ahead and tape it down because I hate when I wear bangs and they start sliding back. It don't matter what I do, they just keep moving. So, and I have a lot of hair on this. So yeah, they still slid back. So it really didn't matter. Maybe I should have glued it down, but I decided to just add a little bit of tape and put her on. And I have to say, I'm very proud at the fact that the JanetCollection's hair quality is actually really good. And the great thing about this is you'll get exactly what I got because it's all literally the same hair. If you want to see my full review, make sure you guys check the links below, or it should be in a pop-up at the top. And yes, I will catch you guys in my next one. Peace.